Today we left from Hudson Beach, Florida, out of Skeleton Key Marina, and had everybody meet at 4:30 this morning so we could get an early start on all of our radars. There was a huge line of storms, and so we had to make the decision on what we were going to do exactly, whether it was run through them, run around them, or not go at all. So I made the decision to run about 5 miles, which is where the pinfish traps were, and I had 5 traps out there. I could see the first storm was about 12 miles away on the radar, so I wanted to at least get out there and see what everything looked like once we got out there and pulled the bait traps. And I could tell that there was a little pocket up to the north that we could run through, so we pulled all our bait traps and got running, and we ended up having to run way further north than I expected. Hudson Beach is about 35-40 miles south of Crystal River, and by the time we got all the way up north away from the storms, we were due west of Crystal River. Then we ended up having to turn back south to go to where we wanted to fish, but it worked out well for us. We didn't get any rain, but we did have to run a very long ways around them. My plan for today was pretty simple. It was to get out there early, number one, and number two was to locate new fish, and which that pretty much fits my style anyway. I don't necessarily like to go to the same spot twice or even more than twice. I only usually hit a spot one time and catch a few fish off of it and leave it. That way it can replenish and I can save it for another day. We started off the day in about 100 foot of water, put the plugs out, quickly located a really good, nice spot, and we set up on it and went to work pretty quickly on the fish. So while we're fishing, I'll usually have a flat line out just, you know, for anything that may be a pelagic fish, whether it's a tuna or a kingfish or a wahoo. This specific instance, I had a flat line out trying to catch a red snapper, and it was on fluorocarbon and not a wire leader. When it first ate it, I thought it was a red snapper because it acted just like it, and it was just peeling drag. And then I quickly realized that it was peeling too much drag, and the fish turned and came towards the boat, and as soon as it did that, it got a little bit of slack, just enough to get the leader in its mouth, and it popped the line. But I know that was a big kingfish or a wahoo or something of that sort, which would have been a nice bonus for the day, but it was still cool to hook up with it and have it happen anyway. For the first couple spots that I found, it seemed to have a lot more red grouper on it than red snapper. We did catch a couple very nice red snapper right off the bat, but the red grouper, they were really eating us up, so we wouldn't spend too long on any of the spots. We were bouncing around a lot and looking for new fish all day, and you know, we ended up finding a hole that was just loaded, and all the fish there were just very quality, nice, big red snapper, all in the 18 to 20 pound range.
God. Another giant.
I mean, at least you can get the bucket in this so they can see it's not the same fish every time. So red snapper season is always one of my favorite times of the year, just because you catch a lot of fish, but not only do you catch a lot of fish, you catch a lot of big fish. And it's just really fun being able to catch red snapper and red grouper at the same time. I mean, they're both very big fish. They fight very hard. They taste good. And if you go out there and catch your limit of red snapper and red grouper, you're definitely going to be coming back home with a box full of fish and be able to feed everybody that you could want to, for sure. So we wrapped up our limited red snapper, limited red grouper, and on the way back in, my grandfather wanted to catch a hogfish, so we stopped at one spot on the way in. We got there, it was about 30 miles in from where we were at. There was absolutely no wind. We were right at the middle of a tide change and didn't have any current or anything, so we caught a few nice mangs and some lanes. We were unsuccessful on our hogfish, but it was overall just a really awesome day. We caught a limited red snapper, limited red grouper. They were all big red snapper, they were all big red grouper. Everybody had a great time, caught tons of fish. They were all wore out at the end of the day. They went home with plenty of fish to feed them and their families and their friends. On top of all that, I found a few spots that are gonna really help me out for the next trips that I have. Overall, a very successful day and can't wait to get back out there.